and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave,
and I'm Jake. Hope you guys enjoyed the extended intro. We are expecting a guest tonight. He had some stuff pop up at the last minute, so fingers crossed he shows up. But we will soldier on.
Yep, we will get stuck in. It will be Paul Murphy from Forge the Narrative podcast. So yes, after last week's issue, we're really having it. Comes together.
We just pushed the issue further down the road.
Yes. He has the link. He knows where to go. So we'll see him when he joins us. I'm just going to switch over to have a look at comments over on this page. There we go. So who do we have with us already? Scott is here. Dave Hummel is here. Luis is here. Chris Kemmig, Jeff. Fantastic. Welcome everybody. Dave Hummel says, yay, kick the can. Patrick has joined us. Hello, Patrick. Richard Ralph is here as well. Welcome. Hello, everybody. So, yes. Woohoo! We'll stall. Let's see if we can stall for a little bit. Jake?
I mean, we don't need to stall. We can just, we can do our thing.
It's true. Absolutely. How are you? How you doing? How you been? Been a busy week?
Yeah, it's been something. I was telling Dave before we jumped on. So, did I talk about my car last week?
No, I think you talked about it on our call on Thursday night, where we worked out where we did all of our stuff for going to San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Accommodation-wise, our accommodation stuff for going to San Diego. So,
yeah. So as the summer approaches, Dave and I are trying to get all of our shows lined up and squared away. So we squared away our travel, or at least our accommodations for San Diego Comic-Con. So anybody who's on the West Coast who's going to San Diego Comic-Con, make sure you guys come by and see us. And Kat will be there and everybody. But last Monday, I basically got into my car and it was like the floor was soaked. And I was like, that's weird. Did I leave my sunroof open? No. Did I leave the windows open? No. The floor on the driver's side seems okay. My seat's dry. Not really sure what's going on. So I dropped it off and I basically found out Thursday or Friday that they think that there's a leak in there's not a leak. Every car that has a sunroof has these things called like drains. So you've got like the roof of the car, and then there's almost like a cutout piece where the sunroof sits, so the sunroof can move up out of the track and come back in. So there are drains that sit in that little cutout that are supposed to be, if any water gets in there, it's supposed to just get drained out of the car. So they think that those little drain spouts failed and the water filled up in that little like area, and then it filled into the car and like ran down my stanchions and under the dash and that's how it got on the floor. And I was like, I mean, that makes sense. So my insurance company doesn't want to like pay to get the car fixed because they're like, well, there's no way to know. And now you have to deal with a health issue where you could have mold or whatever because the inside of your car is wet and they're not really sure where it's coming from. So on the one hand, they're willing to like pay the whatever it is to fix it. But then my claims adjuster is like, I think you should let us total the car. We'll write you a check for the total valuation. And then like, cause otherwise they could just fix the car. And then, next time it rains, you have the same problem or a similar problem. And they can go, oh yeah, it wasn't that. We have to do another claim. And I was like, right. So it's just been a lot. It's just been a lot of crap to deal with. So
yeah. Patrick says it's getting warmer. Car swimming pool sounds luxurious.
It was not. It was more like a floor pan full of dirty paint water.
Floor pan swamp.
Yeah. It was more floor pan swamp, less like swimming pool.
Right. Yes.
I mean, rolling swimming pool. I'm with you. That sounds cool, but
not so much.
Yeah, but it's just been a heck of a week. I've just been. I feel like I've just been like deflecting problems, like
yeah, fantastic. Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about, that I've been focused on, has been the Kickstarter launch coming up on Friday. Friday, yes, Friday.
Yep.
Friday. So we've been going through. Been working with Aaron Dill from Jolly Lark on getting the video. The Kickstarter video sorted.
Nice.
So I think we're pretty close to that. We just have to switch out a couple of images and all that sort of fun stuff. We have what else we got going on? Oh, Tommy Sewell, who wrote Volume 5, did his Fundamentals of Painting in Volume 5, was interviewed yesterday by the guys on the Painting Phase YouTube channel, which will be coming out next week, I think, at some point. I don't know.
Well, right on.
Which is kind of cool. Well, it's definitely cool. And what was the next thing I was going to say? This Sunday, we're going to go to a. We're going to have a super special live bonus episode of Build Paint Play Sunday morning, where Jake and I are going to be talking with Roman Lapat and Joshua Lai about miniature painting.
It's a double secret special episode.
Double secret special episode? Why is it secret?
Well, even I didn't know it was this Sunday until moments ago.
I told you last week it was this Sunday. It was going to be this Sunday, but yes. So this Sunday from 9 a.m. Eastern. So that'll be. It might be as early as 7 a.m. Sorry, Scott, if you're in Mountain Time, but I think you're in Central Time, so it might be 8 a.m. for you. But we'll be talking to them for about an hour about things they love about miniature painting, which will be super cool. I'm excited about that. But because they're both in the European time zone, it's incredibly difficult to have them on the regular show, regular timing. So we'll have to do it that way.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that as well, getting that all squared away. I'm going to have to make up a new thumbnail for it and do all the tippy-tappy of the descriptions. So it should be good. I have a message here now from Paul saying, I'm coming. So fingers crossed he will be with us shortly.
Yeah, he just messaged me too and said he's walking back. I was like, I kind of wanted to be like, where were you that you were walking back to your house now? Like, I don't understand, but
yes. It's one of the things I have noticed with folks who have podcasts where they record the podcast at any time and and release it at any time.
Right.
There's not that understanding of the deadline is.
Yeah, it's weird. The more I look around, like there's a ton of shows that do like some sort of gaming adjacent podcast.
Yep.
But there's really not many of us that do it live. It's like us. Jeff does his live.
Yep.
It is Mel's live.
Mel does a live show on Sunday nights or something.
Yeah, I was like, I thought he does some of his shows are live.
Yeah, but most of his is video content. But yeah. Josh is here. He's joined us. Says he's here too. He says artist time. It's normal time, but 15 to 20 minutes one way or the other.
Nice.
Yeah. It could be that. So yes, the it just appears to be a thing. So apologies for that. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm super focused on. Getting all that happening.
Did you get any hobby stuff done?
I did, but I figured we'd talk about that in the show.
We're in the show. Like, this is the show.
True, but once we get our guest here, so we can include everything. Scott says Roman will be on time. It's in his blood. This is true. And Roman has described Joshua as like even more organized than Roman is. So,
must be nice.
Yep, it'll be both of those guys will definitely be there on time.
Somebody, I forget who, somebody in my feed today posted a thing about, like, I think it was Ash. It was like, what's it like having ADHD? And it's a cartoon, and the cartoon, they say it's like having a Windows browser open, only I have like 19 tabs and I keep searching for stuff, and I'm still not sure where the music is coming from. And I was like, yeah, like, I get it.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Should we give we can give a big shout out to the Army Painter?
We can.
For being our season sponsor again, right here. These guys right here, the class acts right here.
Yep.
I just picked up some new Army Painter. I picked up the Plasma Coil Blue.
Yep.
Dry Blood. I think was it Fresh Blood?
Fresh Blood.
I picked up Dry Rust. I picked up Old Rust, and I picked up is it Oil?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's glistening. Is it glistening oil? It's like an oil effect. And I was like, okay, cool. So I picked up
the translucent glossy black.
Yeah, I think so. But like, it looks like it has a little more like viscosity to it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so like that whole row in the Fanatic rack, the row that's all like the effects paints, like those are awesome.
Yeah. They're definitely good. I've been I finally yesterday finished off my matte black. My Fanatic.
Oh, your old one.
My first one, the old one the one that I got that I started at the beginning of the year. So it's
still good. It's still a good paint.
Oh no, for sure. No, I mean the Fanatic one that I got with the set that Cat and Adam sent me.
Oh, I did not get any real usable colors. I showed you mine. It's all. Hang on, I got them right here. Let me grab them.
Yes, and Josh said, "Long live Thomas. Never wash your hands." I mean, it's in the pigment. It's the pigment.
Now I can show these off. So like this is all the colors that I got. So
okay, yep.
Nothing usable. It's like,
what are you talking about?
Bright. I would never use any of these colors. Like bright blue, magenta. There's like this sky blue, like a forest green. Or it's not even a forest. It's like a Kelly green. The brown is okay, and even this gray. The gray isn't really gray. That's brush on primer.
Right.
So like, I was like, what am I going to use with these for?
You got to branch out now. You got to branch out.
Dude, I'm not painting clowns. I'm painting like Space Marines.
I'm asking you to paint clowns. You work them into some other paints.
Sure, yeah. I could use those if I was painting a Harlequin army.
I'm telling you, like wicked pink, also magenta. Using that all the time on my wonderful Keth.
Again, they were fine. Like I said, I use them for what they were for. I use them for sample paints. I put them over plastic that wasn't primed, and it actually covered really well. And I painted some of the black GW bases just to see what the viscosity was like. But I was like, I'm not going to paint like a sky blue and magenta marine with like yellow stripes, and like I was just like, I'm not doing that.
Yep. Scott has just said, if you would never use the colors, then you must use the colors. Expand your mind. Also, I'm currently struggling to expand my base palette.
I use a lot of different colors, but whenever I paint, I come up with my palette for whatever I'm working on.
Yep.
So it was harder to, how can I explain this? It was harder for me to get these paints and then be like, how do I use these? As opposed to being like if you sent me the Green Knight, or like if you sent me Space Marines, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to paint them I'm going to do a little bit of research. I'm going to paint the Marines like this. I need these colors.
Right.
Whereas this was like, here's a bunch of random Crayola color, color like options. Paint something. I was like that was that. I don't know why it was just, that was way harder for me than.
You just started glitching like.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, what am I going to paint with these colors?
Sure. I guess painting an article. Oh, that reminds me. Ooh. I think next Monday I'm going to have an article ready for Game Trade Magazine. So I must
just send them an old one. They'll never know.
Oh, there's an idea. I'll just recycle like the one from issue 1.
Did I promise you that like no one will catch it.
Well, it's about time that people got to learn how to paint red again, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll know, and you'll know, and everybody here will know, but they won't catch it. I promise.
Fantastic.
Jerome is just going to be like, "Oh, thank God that file's here," and he's going to click and drag it, and you'll be all set. Like that's it. That's what's going to happen.
Yep. Fantastic. Jeff says, "Come on, step out of your comfort zone, Jake." Louise says, "Use them on a Gundam."
I mean, yeah, like I'd have to. Part of it was I didn't want to like add a bunch of like unnecessary stuff. Like, I was like, what could I paint that I would use that are these colors? That was part of it too.
You have any role playing minis? Have any cyberpunk minis?
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, they're great colors if I was painting up like an Escher gang.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect for cyberpunk. Perfect. Scott says, also a nearby city got the Fnatic range. I'll pick some up on Thursday. Very cool.
They're so good. Scott, you're not going to be disappointed. The metallics, their metallics are crazy. They're so good.
Yeah. And there we go. Real talk, Jake. Pick an unrelated model to an army and challenge yourself. Use 2 colors you never had before. It's a cool experience. I think you'll enjoy it.
I don't doubt it. I think the big one for me is a lot of how I paint is my painting is very task related. Like I'm like, what am I working on? I want to get this done. Very rarely am I ever like, ooh, I want to paint this random model. Like it happens from time to time, and then I have to be like, no, don't do that. I need to finish this project. So,
yep.
To be fair, that is why I grabbed the Green Knight. Like at some point, I'll paint the Green Knight because he's one of my favorite models. That'll be the 3rd Green Knight I've painted, I think.
Well, there you go. And some of those colors will go wonderfully in.
To be honest, I probably won't use any of those colors.
Richard suggests Blood Bowl. That would be good. And Josh and Scott are working out how they're going to what they're going to put in.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to see this.
Yep. Josh is suggesting that Scott does the adjectives and nouns, and Josh will do the indefinite articles and the gerunds.
Ooh, nice.
Mark Maxey has joined us. Good evening, Mark. Fantastic.
Oh, here we go. Scott, genius idea coming in. Pick 3 colors. Let's have the community paint something up using just the. So, Scott, using just the colors?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll do that. I'll do that for next week. I'll come up with 3 colors.
Yep. Cool. From that bag.
Wild.
Whatever
it has to be from this bag.
Whatever the connection is, so that you use some of those.
All right. So some of these are doubles. So
yeah.
What do I actually have? And like I said, the gray is primer, so that doesn't count. So forget that.
Yep.
These are the same. And that's the same.
Excellent.
All right, so here's the actual colors that I got. Oop. Here's what I got.
Yeah.
So we'll do 3 of these. All right, so let's do
those. You don't have to pick them now. Take the week to think about it. Let us know next week, so you can give us a like here's what it would be in this paint range, this paint range, this paint range.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
I'm tempted to just go that because that's insane.
Right. But yeah, as Scott said, I wouldn't do just the colors, but for sure using them. That's really
okay. Right.
But yeah, like they have a black and a white, of course. Kelly Rose joined us. Good evening, Kelly. And Josh says, yeah, Jamie Daggers does a similar 4-color challenge on one of her live streams during the week. And Scott wants you to pick them now.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yep. Okay, you got to work out what that would be.
Right. So do we want to do 3 colors or 4 colors?
Let's do 4 colors.
4? All right. Okay.
Let's take a lead from Jamie.
All right. Here's my 4.
Okay. Radio. What do you think they would be? You'd have to work out what they're going to be in the thematic range.
So the problem is that because these are they're this job.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess I could look on their website and try to figure out what they are.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that. It's all good.
All right. I'll do that right now. We got a minute. Let me check. All right. So
yes. Not sure what's going on. I hope he didn't get hit by a car on his way back to his house. So,
all right, where's like their image of like the whole range? Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this to me looks like.
Well, while you're looking through that, how about I jump into
sure
your visual bits and pieces? So we'll do that as well. Okay, sharing screen. Boom. There we go. So don't pick this one. Don't pick Deep Ocean Blue. I do happen to have that here.
I mean, that looks cool, but I don't have that. Nope. There you go.
Yep. Deep Ocean Blue. It is good. I've used this on my Keth. I've used it to highlight the black. So it's definitely neat.
Like that.
It's in the it's the darkest of the deep blue greens. So it's very cool. But that is the Army Painter color of the week. According to Tyler Mengel and the Instagram page. So thank you very much, the Army Painter, for sponsoring us this season. As I mentioned, Kickstarter starts on Friday for volumes 10, 11, and 12. I think we currently have about 1,060 people who are following the campaign. If you head to the links down in the notes below, you can click on the one that goes to the Kickstarter, and you'll be able to click on Notify Me at launch. So you'll be able to get in there first. Maybe not first, but close to first. Certainly help us fund quickly, which would be great. And as I mentioned, we're putting together the video for it. So, including the awesome capybara painted by Joshua Lai in the video. You got to put it everywhere, really. It's a lot of fun.
All right, so this is what I think it is.
Yeah.
It looks like electric lime.
Okay. Hang on a second.
This one's really hard. I can't tell if this is. I'm gonna guess that this is Arctic Gem.
Right.
It's actually a color that's in between Arctic Gem and Blue Sapphire, but so we'll say Arctic Gem. That's the blue.
Yep.
The orange looks like Molten Lava to me.
Okay.
And the magenta-ish, I think, is Impish Rogue.
Okay.
Because it's not as like crazy as the Wicked Pink. So
right.
I think it's Impish Rogue. Those are the 4 colors, and
right.
you can get obviously people as long as you're close.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what we got.
Radio.
So like I said, this is definitely the Molten. That's the Impish Rogue. This is the Arctic Gem, like I said, I think, and this is Electric Lime.
Right. Okay. I have colors that are kind of close to it, like Bright Sapphire, the Wicked Pink, Lava Orange. We'll see how it ends up.
Yeah.
I might paint whatever I'm painting up for the article. I'll paint for next week.
Oh, how to get something done with wacky colors.
Right. Awesome. Welcome, Super Dan Osborne. Excellent. Okay, so we'll put a post in the actually, if you can post that up in the group later tonight.
Yep.
After the show. So we'll post that in the Build Paint Play community. You can jump in there and get the close to the colors. Jake might even be able to take a photo of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
or I can always do a screen. Do you want me to do a screen grab of the real ones, or do you want me to just do the ones that I have?
The ones you have. Just a
right.
just a snapshot of those. Will be all good.
All right. You got
it. Awesome. Kat is here as well. Hi. And Scott said, "Hey Dan, do you want to be the guest on tonight's show?" The other two. Be out walking. Yes. So
all right, let's roll on. That's why we do it live. It doesn't matter what everybody else is up to. We're gonna go ahead and keep on rolling.
Exactly. Okay, so this is what I finished off. Well, almost finished off. I haven't finished off the bases yet. But these are the scouts for the Keth army for Sludge.
I like the random assortment of hats. Like some of them have like old school like slouch hats, and then others have like almost the Italian the Italian army, like old school 1400s like bolero with like the wrap.
Yeah. But they're all they'll kind of have the basically you sort of grab them by here and pull them down in your head. They've got the ear flaps going on. That goes around the back of the neck as well.
What's up, Kat? What's up, Dan?
I gave them all a bit of a black shawl kind of thing. I like the shawl. I gave it the black with that sort of diagonal stripe through it, just as something got a little bit of extra zhuzh.
Are you gonna like tone out their shirts so their shirts don't match their skin, or are you gonna tone out the skin?
I'm gonna do something that sort of changed it a little bit. When I did it initially, I'll probably shade the shirts a little bit more, throw some more of the oak brown back into them. But yeah, initially that didn't really look like a problem, but looking at them there and looking at them on my desk, it's like, yeah, it's just a little bit too close. So that'll be fine though. I'll get those done.
Dig it.
Yeah. Other things that I have been painting on.
Yeah, he's great. I like that guy.
Yeah. Did I show him last week?
Yeah, was it? You showed me him on Thursday.
Oh, okay, right here.
But he was basically just green. That's Throg, right?
Thrug the Trogoth King. Yeah.
His dimensions are wacky. I love how his arms are like twice the size of his legs.
Yeah. It's definitely cool. Super cool. So it's a lot of fun. My client has created this base with enormous mushrooms on it.
Very nice.
So
don't eat those unless you cook them.
No, I won't. I'll try not to cook them. Just eating them raw. But at the moment he's blue tacked or poster tacked to the base, which would be good. Excellent.
What was the box way back in the day? We were both at GW. It was the fantasy box. It was the first time it came with a plastic cave troll. It was like dwarves, and there was like a battle donkey, and then there was
it's just a rock troll, a stone troll.
Yeah,
not a cave troll. That was Battle for Blackfire Pass.
Yeah, I think that's it. That was a great box.
Yeah, definitely good. But I got this guy as well.
Nice. You were saying like his eyes are not like where they should be.
Well, not where I expect them to be. Yeah,
they're not, nose.
They're not up near the top of the nose. They're down near the bottom of the nose. So, kind of weird. But yeah, I'm painting that one up to kind of match this one that I painted for him a little while ago.
Nice.
But there we go.
Is his army just Troggoths?
Well, he has a whole bunch of destruction stuff. So
I do enjoy trolls. They're the best. Hey, a wild Paul enters the chat.
My goodness. Thank y'all so much for your patience. I sincerely apologize. I love nothing more than my family, Marvel Comics, and this art of live streaming about Warhammer 40,000, and hate to have been late as I am.
It's all good. It's all good. Dave and I have just been like, kind of like trying to keep things rolling. So everybody in the chat, everybody watching, this is our buddy Paul Murphy. Paul does the Forge the Narrative podcast. And he's also the voice of, is it Age of Sigmar tournament play or?
Well, so I do all the live streaming for the US Open series and events, and I've done some, been fortunate to do some meta watches. I even did a preview. That was so cool.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about all that sort of stuff. So Paul, we're just gonna jump straight in because we're out of material. Well, actually, I've got a lot more minis that I haven't shown on the screen that are all on the desk here that I could show. But
it's a privilege to see your models, though. It's just been basically the gold standard for painting.
I'll show you this one again. Really happy
for what, 3 decades now?
3 decades? No, I wouldn't say I've been the gold standard. Let's start with that. I've been painting for 3 decades, but kind of the aluminum standard.
I don't know, Dave.
Impressed.
Dave never gives himself enough credit.
Anyway, yes. So Paul, we were just looking at. One thing as well. StreamYard. Are you familiar with StreamYard?
Sort of.
Okay, in the studio on the right hand side, there'll be a comments.
Aha! I found it.
So that'll give you yes, for us it's you're right, it's over that way.
Yeah.
That'll give you all the chat. So you get to say hi to everybody and answer any questions as they pop up.
Oh,
so
there?
Pardon? Yep, Cat's there. Loads of folks, which is cool.
Cat, Dan Osborne,
Super Dan
Scott
Osborne.
Radham's on here. Josh is on here. Kelly Rowe.
Oh my
Mark, goodness. Richard, Luis, Jeff, Chris, Cal, Patrick.
Talking about just some excellent folks, excellent painters.
So
this is a good group tonight. We got a lot of people on.
Yep. So we've just shown these guys. These are some models I painted over the last week for the game Sludge from Metal King Studios.
Am I supposed to critique these? Like, what's the format here?
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We can do that after the show.
I got lots of opinions. No, very little painting talent. Lots of opinions.
Fantastic. No, I think after this we jump into your hobby. So when I asked Paul to send me a photo of some of his current hobby stuff that he had going on, this was a photo he sent through. I do have some more model photos after this, but I wanted to throw this one in first because as well as doing 40K and competitive gaming and live streaming and all that sort of fun stuff, you also have a hobby of reviewing food.
I do love to eat, and one of the things that I started several years ago, I guess it might have been during the early days of the pandemic when people were basically just like doom scrolling, like for real doom scrolling, and I'm like, it would be fun, eating a donut on camera. and talking about it, and then expanded that to my sons and I do what we call the Atlanta Burger Boys, and we will travel around to burger places that, within driving distance of where we are, all around Atlanta, and eat hamburgers and film them, and it's so fun. This was the request. This was for a headshot. I was like, well, this is the last picture I took when you asked. I was in New York recently, and I was on the way out. I realized I had not had a piece of New York pizza, so I grabbed a slice on the way out.
Right. Awesome. I thought it would have to be New York because of the way it's folded.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's cool. Excellent. So jumping in, Jake, obviously know that Paul's a huge fan of Blood Angels. Chris Kemig knows that you're a big fan of. Yeah.
So I specifically forced myself to take a couple other pictures, but otherwise it would have been. I've been on a tear. Doing the shoutcasting for tournaments and stuff means that basically like my time off from my day job is eaten up. So I don't get to play in many tournaments. So I'm just like, well, I've got this downtime for playing tournaments. No, we're not playing in tournaments. I go to tournaments still, but I'm just going to paint squads and models that I just want to do. So there's been lots of things that have come out of that just because I'm not painting. I'm an event-driven painter for starters. Like I paint for events, to go to events, to play in events. The quality of my painting or the elements that I put on, I shouldn't say quality because that's subjective, but I will say the elements that I put on my painting or my models is typically 4 points. If there's some rubric or something, I'll paint for what that is. If you like this isn't complete. Like a lot of rubrics will say, a couple of different things of basing on your models. Like I'm going to put tufts on here because that's what I want for points. So like when you see an edge highlight, my chunky, just embarrassing edge highlights is one, I try my best. It's not like I'm not trying to phone it in or whatever, but I look at a set of criteria and try to meet that criteria so I score better overall in the events. I'm an event-driven painter.
Right.
Gotcha.
No, that's cool. I think these guys look great. I think any of us would be happy to have these in our collection for sure.
I mean, dude, I love Blood Angels. Like this takes you back to my 3rd edition army that's all jump troopers. So at some point I'm gonna redo it. Like when we get our new Blood Angels FOMO box that I know is coming, like I'm gonna resurrect my entire army, and it's gonna go from being all firstborn to all Primaris. So
I've got it took me a long time. Like I have my original Blood Angel army. I think I repainted it, I don't know, 10 times. I mean, 10's extreme, 3, 4, 5 times or whatever. Because as soon as I would get to another squad, something about my red recipe had changed, and they would not be the same. But now I've got it kind of figured out to where I can replicate this red. And I'm even seeing things. Yes, I understand. I've not painted the leather strap on his leg. Stop looking at it.
I can't stop. No, how do you do your red? What's this red? Is this?
I start with Mephiston red.
Yep.
Use out of the spray, but then clean it up. With the out of the pot Mephiston red. Then I'll shade it typically with a Sepia wash.
Okay.
And then go with Evil Sun Scarlet is the next red up, but I do that real thin, like 2 or 3 thin coats, only where I think it needs it. Like basically where it would, like you can see somewhere the light's reflecting there off the broader parts. That's where I try to do that. That red highlight there, I would typically go up to an orange, and I don't know what the current modern way is. That's just the way I can figure it out. But that is Wild Rider red.
Yep.
Right. Cool. Yeah, that final highlight is nice because it's subtle. It's not, it's not super garish, like over the top against the red. Because you can always take red a little bit too far in some particular ways. So
you can start to look pinker, I guess. And then with the helmets, that's just a Averland Sunset with a Agrax, real thin Agrax, as close as I could get it to the recesses, and then Ushabti Bone as the top highlight with some green eye lenses, and I think it looks good from 3. I know Scott says that's the depressing way to paint. I actually enjoy it. I mean, I really legitimately enjoy it because it challenges me. Like I try to meet these things that I know will look good. It's designed because they look good. You know, or the tournaments want you to have nice looking armies at events.
Yeah.
That's just what they want. It inspires people to come back and play and tell the stories of the tournaments that they've seen. But I enjoy it because it allows me to like challenge and stretch myself. It's as well as good as this is. This is a result of striving towards that.
Yeah,
I think you've got a good approach to when it comes to like as somebody who also paints a ton of Red Marines. Once you get like your recipe down, it's easy to go, oh, okay, like I've done my test models. Like my red is like, it's a little more intense than yours, but it's similar. So I have like 6 steps, and once that's done, all the red is done, and then I go back and I do all the details. But yeah, like it just and because I know the recipe now, if somebody tomorrow was like, hey, I need you to paint a bunch of like Ultramarines or Salamanders, I could take the recipe that I do and I would just change the tone, and I could do the exact same
I'll sub in the right colors and then get off of the races.
Yeah, that's cool. Excellent.
I always love the yellow Assault Marine helmets. It's just such a nice pop of color.
That's one of the coolest things about the lore too. At least, you know, the army composition of the lore is that the captain's supposed to be able to look out amongst his troops and know, you know, how to assign them based on that helmet color and stuff, like blue for heavy weapons.
Which nobody ever paints because no real Blood Angel player runs heavy weapon squads.
Somebody paints them, but they stay on the shelf.
Dude, I have a massive Blood Angel. I have never painted a blue helmet on a Blood Angel. That is never.
Oh, come on. The Blood Angels are at their heart a codex chapter, so that you fight, you know, and use a similar technology and weaponry as the rest of the
absolutely. Oh, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying there aren't any in my army. Like
you're just not those companies that do.
No, absolutely not.
Excellent.
Respect. I can respect
that. So some of the others that we've got here are
the lawnmowers.
Yep.
Huge fan of the flesh mowers.
Yep.
These things are great.
And this is where, so I feel like I like me again. You know, I know artists call them techniques or whatever, but I feel like I've kind of like unlocked a cheat code whenever I find a cool way of doing things.
Right.
And for this is simply the Death Guard green, washed with, I believe Reichland Flesh Shade is what I used for this, and then dry brushed with a bone color. And dry brushing bone over green. Look, nobody's coming in for paint advice, by the way. I'm just telling you how I did this. But to me, I got a real pleasing effect that was easy for me to replicate over the course of an entire army. Like I have a Death Guard army, and a lot of that was painted in a very short amount of time because I found, like, you know, quick things that gave me a look that I appreciate.
Yeah. They look cool. The do you run just the 2 with flesh mowers?
I do, yeah. So again, remember I play largely match play games.
Yeah.
These seem to have the most variance and efficiency. I'll just say that with this. So I do have the 2, and I've got 2 others with the guns. But I run a lot of Plague Marines and Terminators and stuff with them.
Do you run the golf carts?
Not currently.
Okay.
But I do. I mean, look, it's hard not to like a multi-melta, and multi-meltas have their place right now for sure. There's a lot of things out there multi-meltas do really well against. But I kind of find myself, by the time I've loaded up 3 of them, I probably want something to do on the table than that.
Right. Yeah. But no, they look great.
Thank you. That's one of those. I find that I have to force myself to be bold with the special effects.
Right.
And in this case, the blood on the thing, because you think about, crap, I just painted this thing. I'm happy with it. Now I'm going to gunk it up with mud and gore or whatever. How can I be brave enough to do that? And I have just, over time, conditioned myself to be a little bit more brave with those, because I think it always looks better when you go a little bit further than you were planning on going.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
tell me where I'm wrong, though. Like, y'all are amazing painters and all that stuff. It's like, so.
No, I dig it. I think this model in general is one of my I don't want to say favorite, but I definitely have a soft spot with this model. I just think it's ridiculous. It's like, oh, so it's a drone with 3 like engines, and you're like, oh, so it flies. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't really. It mows the lawn, so it could fly around, but it doesn't. It stays like 3 feet off the ground. Like that's where it lives.
Yeah.
I like that you did like the almost like the flesh color, because it almost looks like a head, right?
Yeah.
So you almost did like the flesh colored like down here, or like down near where its shoulders would be.
Yeah, the whole back of it is all fleshy business of some kind.
Yeah. It's such a weird model.
Gross fleshy business.
Yeah.
But yeah,
with the metallics, for me, metallics is the biggest chore of painting, period.
Okay.
Like for me, like when I have to block in metallics, that's the thing. I'm like, I don't even know if I can paint this week. I just don't know if I can do it. But it's one of those you have to convince yourself, at least I should say, I'm speaking as myself, is that it's going to look like garbage until you get that first wash on it, and you just got to get right with it. And for me, the paint doesn't spread as like I want it to most of the time, and I don't know, it's just the biggest chore. But when you get that wash on it,
you should definitely try the new Army Painter metallics. They are insane.
And maybe the speed paint metallics might
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can get some really cool effects with the speed paint metallics. It's like a built-in wash. So
be looking at it's all garish until until the wash. Exactly. If there's a built-in wash, yeah. Whew.
Yep. No, definitely cool. Excellent. Next up.
Nice.
This is the Abominant, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So
great.
I painted knights. This is my knight color scheme for both Imperial and Renegade knights, because I just figured, why not? Like, this is also my Adeptus Mechanicus color scheme.
Okay.
This is weathering using
This can't be AdMech. There's no red.
Yeah. Using just a ton of different like products and techniques.
Yep.
And then the chipping, and that kind of stuff, and a mixture of hand painted and sponge on stuff. This is so fun to paint.
Yeah,
it's really cool. Does it come with all those little like birds?
Yeah, those are terror shades.
Yep. All right. Are they they're a stratagem now, is that right?
Yeah, they are. Well, it's all about the Battleshock stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah,
they look cool.
Those wonderful little vultures, which are super cool.
I like all the transfer work he did too, like on the shoulder pad with like it's like not a checkerboard, but like that like diamond pattern, and then
I hand painted that.
Really, dude, that looks great.
Oh, thank you.
That is fantastic, and I do like the idea of having a like an Imperial Knight army and a Chaos Knight army with the same scheme. It's you can do lots of there's lots of great opportunities for narrative through there.
Well, these models, I mean, on the practical side of it, they're not cheap. I mean, like if you change, I like to try to get as much use and function as I can out of my collection.
Sure.
And sometimes that includes, figuring out different ways to use the model for play. I mean, like, different configurations, army lists, and that kind of stuff. But if I can get some double duty out of the models, I will try to do that outside of the main Blood Angel army that I play.
Right. Yep. Do you do a lot of magnetizing as well?
The kits nowadays are a lot of ways you can just slot them in, like slot the weapons in, like on tanks and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For knights, though, I do mag up their arms. I forget the size, but their arm well is all the perfect size to throw a magnet in there on both sides, and you've got arms options for days.
Right. Yeah. No, that's cool. It looks awesome.
On this model here, though, I sometimes struggle. I say that painting in metallics is like my chore, but I'm almost allergic to putting models on models and having to paint like 2 models to get 1 model on the table.
All right. Okay.
So
you don't have any cavalry. You're not a big fan of cavalry.
I can get by with that, but if it's like a Jeep or something with a bunch of riders sitting on the Jeep that do nothing, like, I don't know if I can do this. No, but these birds look too cool not to use them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, those are neat. I don't think I've ever seen those. Like, we have a guy at the store who plays Chaos Knights, but I don't think he has any birds on them. He has like spikes and skulls and trophy racks, but he doesn't have any birds on him.
It's just on it's just the Abominant, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't think they come on any of the others.
No.
I can't remember if the War Dogs have them or not. Scott says, but I had a fun time messing around with the enamel effects. I dabble with some enamel stuff, just to because it like oils and things like that, and the mineral spirits to what is that capillary action? Is that the right? Did I use that right?
So, yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Well, pretty soon we had a couple weeks ago we had the guys from Dirty Down on.
We have Mark Henry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
On. And I spaced. But so we did all the Dirty Down stuff. I still got to contact him and actually
like the
get
rust
that
and moss and
in stock. It's so good. That stuff is incredible.
He's got he has another product that he's working on. I'm not sure if you knew about that one. It's basically a gore effect. So not just blood, sort of a bloody kind of look, but it's stringy blood. So when you pull it out of the pot, you've got like maybe 30 seconds, a minute to work with it.
That sounds pretty
strands of gore, which I think
it's way easier than all the other ways to do that. So
yeah,
that sounds pretty cool.
But next up, the Rogel Dawn.
Yeah, right. You won't see any pilots on this thing as we were talking about before.
Nobody has a hatch open. Already put down.
I'm with you. I never have hatches open. Maybe once in a while I'll do a command tank, but almost never.
Yeah.
With this one, I mentioned things slot on. That gun turret is not attached. Well, it's attached, but it's not permanently attached to that. It's just.
Is it like the one has like a notch? You can put it in, then you turn it.
Yeah. Well, this one you don't turn. It just slots in, but it's fairly snug fit. And I put a little blue tack there, and you will never know.
Okay.
This thing's great. So what is it? It is a pintle-mounted stubber, then 2 hull-mounted stubbers, then a hull-mounted Gatling gun, then the 2 autocannons, and then it's got 2 heavy bolter sponsons.
Yes, and none of those weapons are permanently attached. Like because the way they slot in, I'm telling you, all that stuff just slots in. You take it on, take it off, and so you got a lot of replayability with the model.
Yeah,
I dig it. I like how you went kind of like it's like a French camo pattern.
I totally screwed that up, by the way. It matches none of the rest of my tanks. I just it's gonna stick out.
It's the command tank.
No, it does. No, don't get me wrong. I like the way it turned out, but when I should have just had it next to a tank. I made that mistake. I was so anxious to paint this thing that I didn't go get what I was going to put it next to.
Right.
And I should have went again bolder with the pattern of the stuff.
Cool.
I like it.
Carl Tuttle has joined us. Hi, Carl. He says, "Phew, I almost didn't make it." Kind of like Paul last episode.
Oh, Carl is a prince. So good to see you.
Indeed. Fantastic. And I think this is the last one you sent through. Votan.
Dave loves Votan.
I'm a big fan of Votan.
And I'm not good at painting yellow. So I was like, it was a challenge. Like this would be cool if to have a yellow Votan army. And why not see if I could pull it off?
I like it.
I got about 3 squads in. I was like, well, we'll come back to that later.
I will say painting yellow now is so much easier than it used to be.
It is. Yeah.
You can now buy like yellow in a spray can, and there's so many cool washes you can use. And back in the day, it was a nightmare.
Yeah. So I really say Averland Sunset is a lifesaver for me anyway.
Yeah. Like
it just goes on pretty smooth with a single coat. And then working it up from there. The light's doing me some favors here, but like the Einherjar champion is a little bit lighter than the other guy,
right?
And I would prefer them to be all the Einherjar champions. So I'm still trying to dial in my yellow, but it's all built up from that Averland Sunset base.
Right. Excellent. Have you used the wash on that as well? Like is that the Reckland Flesh Shade again, or
it is? Yeah. Yeah, go in and try to get in the recesses and then, building back up from there.
Yeah.
And I painted some Tyranids too, which I did not show you. I could grab one maybe, but they have the similar base scheme. Actually, I started painting the Tyranids because a friend of mine wants to play Ultramarines. And I was like, well, I'll show you. I'll eat you with these Tyranids. We're going to reenact that.
Nice.
But then I thought, double duty. I'm basing the Tyranids in the same color scheme as the Votan there with the snow because, there's that classic confrontation between the Votan and the Tyranids.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Dig it.
Definitely cool. Carl wants to know, and we'll see more Votan units. for your army, I guess.
It would be cool to see more Votan units.
Nice.
Cliff the other day just grabbed was it Cliff who grabbed the Ironhead Squat Prospectors?
No, I can't remember who did that, but yeah, somebody in the Facebook community is working on some squat prospectors with like a more like an industrial orange.
Those
Oh,
guys
for
are great.
Necromunda.
Yeah. I think you're going with like an industrial orange for the armor, and then like white, dirty white for the helmets.
That sounds fun. That's a fabulous game. Like it's kind of crazy that it stood the test of time, and like just people still go nuts for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is.
That color scheme sounds sick though. With I mean, those are great models.
Yeah. No, they're definitely super cool. But so they were all the hobby photos that you sent through. So obviously you play with the Blood Angels quite a lot. With those other armies, are those just those other units? Were they sort of fun things to do here and there, or
No, I have a full Chaos Knight army. I've got a full Astra Militarum army. I got a full Death Guard army. Like I love playing those. But if I don't have like a specific agenda, I'm always going to default to playing with the Blood Angels because I enjoy. It's that perfect combination of lore, look at the models, the way the army style plays. You know, when I'm talking, people ask me like, "What should I start with?" And I say, "Well, you know, there's a bunch of different things you can consider." And to me, the BA check off all those boxes.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like I always get to be doing something with them.
I mean, Paul's right. They're the best. So,
but with a lot of the armies that I still play today, outside of the ones that have come out since then, I actually started collecting and expanding my army collection back in 3rd edition. So, you know, that was back when you could, well, armies were a lot smaller back then. It was easier to get a whole army, you know, on the table pretty quick. So that's when I jumped from Blood. Well, I actually started playing Eldar, you know, Eldari now. Harlequins was my first army because the shop was sold out of Eldar. So it's like, well, how about this box of Harlequins? I'm like, well, that sounds cool. Yeah, why not?
Dude,
so
back in the day, the Solitaire with the Harlequins Quist was the most dangerous model in the game.
Yes. TK1, this Vortex Grenade right over whatever you don't like, take that. You know, it would blend up everything. The Dance of Death, very nice. But then I went from them, and then they published that compendium, you know, with the Red Marines and what would become Tycho there on the front of that. I'm like, what's that? Space vampires? Say no more. You know,
So good.
And then the rest is history. But then I played them for a real solid stretch, and then started branching out. That's where I got I think I went to Death Guard next, and then Astra Militarum after that, and then just kind of built those up over time and enjoyed playing with them.
Cool, excellent. Are you going to be doing anything with the new Chaos Space Marines? Do you think?
That codex is phenomenal. Like, if you're a longtime Chaos collector, you're going to really like what you can do with that book. I think there is. I mean, they're like 9 detachments in it. You know, which everybody watching probably knows how the 40K works now. Is that you pick a detachment, has certain rules, has certain stratagems, gives you like a template to lay on whatever models you want to lay on, and there's something in there for just about everybody's collection, and it's all good. And when I say good, it's like playable. You could get any pickup game, and with just about every collection of models or every formation of 2,000 points and feel like you're in the fight, I think, which is nice.
Yeah, that is amazing. So you said 9 detachments. So there's the original one from the index, right? Or a variation on that.
There's a bunch. I don't take that as the official number because but there's more than 6 in there.
Yeah,
I mean, like the whole book got like leaked online like 2 days ago. Or not the whole thing, but almost the whole thing. So all the guys at the shop were talking about it. I think the weirdest thing for me is when I started playing, I kind of came in at the end of 2nd, but I wasn't really playing, and I started playing in 3rd. And I think the weirdest thing for me is the fact that back in the day, Chaos Space Marines were basically like running Space Marines, only instead of having like Devastators and Tactical Marines and Assault Marines and, you know, Scout Marines, you had
Noise Marines and like Berserkers and Plague Marines and Thousand Sons, because they all did different things. Like you could have an army that was like, oh, I have a unit of, Black Legion Terminators, and I have the old Jess Goodwin Abaddon who's leading them, and then I have a squad of Plague Marines. It's 7 of them because it's Nurgle's number.
Yep.
And then I have my 8 Berserkers that are in a Rhino, and a Rhino rush them across the board. And then I have my 9 Thousand Sons with a Sorcerer, and they have, what was their rule? They relentless, so they always counted as not moving, which is kind of cool. So like you were like, oh, my army feels really cool, and then I'm gonna run, Doom Rider and some like Emperor's Children bikers or whatever. So my army felt really varied and kind of like we're getting the band back together. And I feel like when you play them now, because they all have their own codexes now, it's like, oh, I'm running Black Legion. It's like, well, you're obviously not going to be running Berserkers because you're not playing World Eaters. And I was like,
No.
I'm like, that's
There's
kind of
now
a
a
bummer.
way.
Like I liked you can kind of mix everything up.
You can include those in your Chaos Space Marine detachment.
You can, but with the current meta, like you wanna kind of pick a lane and lean into it.
Efficiency, yeah, it's tough. I can't debate the fact that I lean towards efficient builds and stuff, but I will say that the codex supports it, and all those attachments I was talking about really have there's some oomph and some power, some spiciness, if you will, in them all. And so if there's a flavor, if you've been a long time Chaos collector, I think you'll be pleased with the book when you get it in your hands. I've played Chaos in the past, like regular old Chaos Space Marines, but I do not have a modern Space Marine army or Chaos Space Marine army. I have what I hope to be a bunch of obliterators on the table one day, but they are still on sprues at the moment.
Okay, I've got a 30k word bearers army that I'm kind of hoping to be able to adapt and sort of shoehorn into a 40k Chaos Space Marine.
You'll find a place for it. I can't remember the exact name of the detachment, but there's one that you will probably feel like it's a good overlay for your army.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I mean, like if you've ever painted like a Mauler Fiend, or Defiler in your collections, stuff that may have had various play, throughout the years, you could get it on the table and you would not be embarrassing yourself right now. Yeah, look at that. A combination Mauler Fiend and Defiler.
It's a Defiler in my.
This codex is for you.
But yes, no, that's cool. That's good to know. I was going to pull up this image. I grabbed it this afternoon from the Forge the Narrative website. But I think this is a great opportunity for us to sort of move into that. So podcasting, talking. So you mentioned earlier, like at the start, with that you have opinions. And so when did you realize podcasting was the way to get those out into the world?
So I talk about Warhammer a lot, like a lot. and then so I've been doing FTN for a decade, like a long time, actually longer than that, a really long time. But before that, I was, playing in more tournaments and doing really well at tournaments, and I kept getting invited on to what was at that point in time like the second gen of podcasts.
Right.
And I was like, well, I talk about Warhammer a lot. Maybe we should just record it. Like, it was going on podcasts didn't seem that hard, and thankfully they were really good at it. They made it seem easy. There's of course some challenges of getting up and going, as y'all know, for doing things like this. And as some folks in the chat certainly know. But it was a natural progression. It's like, well, we're doing this. Maybe if we turn the recording on, people might want to listen to it. And it was also during a time when Warhammer was starting to get, there were less frequent releases, and there were some very clear dominant builds, and people were not really having a good time playing against a particular style of army, and they were losing hope.
Right.
Well, I'm a list brewer. I like to brew. I like to talk, find ways to adapt and overcome or influence, what's happening out there in the community. And I don't mean that in an influencer's standpoint, but I mean like be part of the solution is kind of what I mean. And So started talking about what might make good mission design, what might make good army lists, like what a lot of people at the time, remember the internet was not like it is today. There weren't quite as many, chat groups and things like that as maybe as accessible they are today. But the access to have those list brews and design things that could compete against things that might seem oppressive, it wasn't as easy to get that information out. And at the time, it seemed the best way to do it was doing it through like a podcast and through blogs and that kind of stuff. Blogs were a thing when we first started. So blogging and podcasting, and then being out there playing, and then that led to better list. Like created some really nasty list templates that ended up coming out there and making it into their own, cool things out there in the meta. And then also talked about list design. Tournament mission design. Like really changed how missions that were designed at the time to give more players a better opportunity to always feel like they had a shot. They had like, even it was just like a puncher's chance at playing in match play games, which bleeds over into better pickup games and narrative games and everything else, because you've approached how to play the mission. And that's where progressive objectives came from, like scoring throughout the course of the turns instead of just waiting till the very end to score points. All came through this like movement of podcasting and talking and people getting more plugged into the game.
Yeah, well, I think the podcast format certainly gives it's that opportunity for you can brew a list and you can put it out there and say, hey, this list is great against XYZ, or it's a great counter to that problem you're having. But when you've got a opportunity to talk about it, where you can explain further what the elements, what the angles are to make those choices, and hopefully inspire not just sort of that copycatting kind of thing, but inspire the not copycat lists, but inspire people to.
Well, I mean, take it like that. Even a copycat list is fine. You're saving time. Like if you get somebody else's list, they put time into that, creating that list, and if it saves you some time and you get to have more fun with your hobby, copy that list. I tell you, the owner, whoever authored that list, will not mind at all.
Right. Yeah. Excellent.
But I think you're exactly right. Talking about the whys, going through the process of that, and then what we try to do is break it down in a way that is easily repeatable or understandable to anybody that might want to try it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes just to be informational about what you might encounter out there. Like if you go to a game store, sometimes we talk about things just so you're not surprised by it.
Right. When you're talking about your list.
Or any list or some combo or some winning thing out there, something that has jumped to the top of the heap as as meta. I'm using air quotes. And here, this is the most current episode 504, I think it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's as clickbaity as my titles get. I'm not really good at clickbait titles.
Yeah. But no.
But I do think they're going to be strong.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Definitely, as Jake said, nice there with the 504 episodes. So you said like over 10 years, roughly, roughly one a week.
And that's not counting like bonus episodes or vendor spotlights or some something like that. But yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, that's super impressive. Super impressive. I didn't go back and I know that I've been on once or twice. I can't remember. I think it might have been on.
Absolutely. I know, right? It's been a decade, so it's fine if you forgot.
No broken, something like that. But I didn't go back and look it up. But I didn't know if I could spend all that time scrolling through all 500 episodes. But no, it's definitely super cool. And I think so. What's at the moment? You've got a few co-hosts as well. Who do you have working with you?
Got Tanya Gates, who's a phenomenal painter, community organizer out of Canada. Been in like the podcast and doing vids and helping with live streams and charities and stuff for a long time now. She's phenomenal. Red Powell, who's the captain of the U.S. Army esports team for 40K.
Okay.
He's a ranking officer. I don't know. I don't know how I'm supposed to address his title in the military, but basically like a scholar of military and war games, and is even got a lot of like training in how to do like war games, but I'm talking about like actual board game war games type things.
Sure, yeah.
As a as a thought exercise, and just has phenomenal insights. And then Adam Camilleri out of Australia, who's been doing this with me for several years now, and we actually do a lot of the live streaming together. He's actually one of my co-hosts on the Games Workshop live stream now, and just approach the game a 40K amazing, great commentator of the game, like can do analysis of the game, can talk about it in a way that is both exciting and easy to understand for people that are out there listening, but can also jack it up to that high level, in the most competitive circles. Competes for his nation at the like the world championship type level for teams, and real happy to have all those folks I just mentioned as co-host. I think this is, pound for pound, slot for slot, like one of the best it's ever been, for podcasts on FTN. It's a joy to do. We we stopped season 1 10 years into it. Now we're on season 2, I think. And one of the things that just keeps us coming back to it is the fact that we have a great time hanging out with each other.
Right.
And talking about Warhammer. It's like almost like incidental that we're recording at the time. Of course, you radio it up a little bit when you're recording, but I really love hanging out with these folks, and it's a joy to continue to talk about this hobby that we love, week in and week out.
Cool. Sorry about that. I saw Jake was looking out the window. Yeah,
no, there's like a squirrel or something, and I can hear him like chittering outside the window, and I was like, I'm just gonna close the window. Like it is super distracting.
I just want to hear this 40K goodness.
Yeah, that's not a squirrel, Jake. That's the warp. Cap,
no.
Yellow field. No.
Nope.
Cool.
No.
Don't want to talk about it.
But we have authors on, had several Black Library authors on over the course of the show. I've even had some music artists on the show. Again, just kind of, but those are typically bonus episodes of just like what's going on, in the world right now, entertainment wise.
That's cool. I think there's a link to the Forge the Narrative website down in the show notes below. So if you haven't checked out Forge the Narrative, head over there. There's obviously the full list of episodes. You can start working your way through those.
Thanks for the plug. Yeah, it's about an hour. Each show is about an hour, and mostly just jibber jabber about 40K, with the occasional tangent.
No tangents.
I do try to keep it real focused on what the show topic is. But.
Tangents are an important part of talking about anything, really.
Dude, we wouldn't have a plot. We wouldn't have a show without tangents.
This is true.
I do another show called the Warhammer Meta Chasers.
Yeah.
To where we do, and I apologize to your chat if they when I talk about this, but we talk about the tournament. We talk about upcoming tournaments, the biggest tournaments coming up over the course of that week. And we break down the factions that are there and some of the top players in their list that they're taking. And that's about 45 minutes. We talk about that for about 45 minutes. And then the last part of the show, we do a rapid fire segment that has sometimes very little to do with anything 40K related. It is just a rapid fire segment of the silliest stuff you'll probably hear from a live stream.
Excellent.
Just as a palate cleanser, a way to relax after that crunchy meta breakdown.
Super crunchy intenseness. That's cool.
Hey, there's Adam.
So I thought I'd go and grab a few screenshots from the Warhammer Twitch stream. So this is from Adepticon. You can see the little Adepticon logo in the center there. But yourself and Adam, I'm not sure. Oh, so there we go. The 40K team tournament at Adepticon.
Yeah, it is a sincere privilege to be able to do this on live stream from these major events and talk about Warhammer on the Warhammer channel with Warhammer fans in the chat. It's a real privilege and happy to be able to do it.
Oh, no, it's cool. The idea that you were sitting there and talking about something on the screen. You get the little circles. You get to go, this unit and this unit, and sort of project what maybe the players are thinking, what they're planning to do, maybe what you do with the unit. It's one of those things where it's still, even though you guys have been doing it for quite a while now, it still baffles me, I guess. Maybe baffles isn't the right word, but it still stuns me that when I met you, 2006, 2007?
That's maybe a little bit earlier than that, but that sounds about right.
At GW tournaments, and at the time there was nothing like this. There was no sort of concept that there would be anything like this.
Well, to be fair, like short of like a news crew broadcasting it, there was no way to do anything like this. Like the internet was basically a bunch of message boards. You couldn't do something live like this.
Sure, yeah, but the idea is like, at the time it was like the only people that were drawing circles on a screen were like John Madden. Right?
Yeah, that's a Carl just said Paul Madden Murphy. Apparently that's your new nickname.
I'll take it.
He wrote, I always appreciate that Paul wears a jacket when broadcasting. We're watching a 40K version of a golf tournament. I agree. I almost think it'd be cool if, like, you know, between rounds, like when after the command phase is over, that like you guys would be great. Like, okay, here he is. He's going into his command phase. Let's see what he's gonna do. Like you almost do like you gotta be quiet when they're about to roll dice. Like dice are about to hit the tail. So
we sit far away from the players so we can be animated, and so we could have that discussion, but we're not, like, the players can't hear us. But yeah, I do like the fact that we can have this look, and I try my best to get a little bit. I push the limit with the shirts, but everything else is kind of informal.
I dig it, dude. You got to make sure you post this on there, so hopefully Dave and I will steal some of their viewership. But like, damn, that's I saw you at Adepticon. That's you and I caught up a little bit at Adepticon. But like every time I walked by there, you always look like. No, I know that everybody likes that you're doing this, and that's awesome. But I think for me, the part that gets me is like, it is clear that you really enjoy doing this and you are having a great time doing it. Like that's the best part.
Thank you. Again, it really is a privilege to be able to do it, and then get to do it with buddies like the crew that I do this with. You know, we reference them, the characters on the show. You know, we got Tech Priest Werner back there. We got Serpo Skull Alex. You know, and Serpo Skull Mark. You know, they're there helping, you know, run the show and get us good camera angles. And you know, we're listening to what the chat wants. So the chat wants some different angles. You know, then look, we're gonna do our level best to bring them the coverage that they want of the game that they're watching and spending time with us. You know, and it's so cool getting to know some of the people, you know, event after event. You see the name in chat, they participate and hang out. They're good. They're chatting with each other. It's like we're sitting there just having a good time for, 12 hours a day, doing what we all wish we could do every day, probably, is just be talking about or playing Warhammer.
Yeah. Carl says, I remember the days we covered Adepticon Championships live. We used webcams, duct tape, and PVC piping to get the angles we needed. We mic'd the players, but had to sit fairly close as well. It was a nightmare to cover it. Glad Paul does it because I never want to do it again.
I got to be on that show with Carl at one point in time. And again, I was so happy to like, somebody's doing this. Is so cool. I get to be on TV or whatever. That was.
Yep.
It was a pleasure.
That's great. The so one of the things that
here we are at the Warhammer draft.
Well, this is a different day because they've got different jackets on and different shirts. But
different shirts.
One of the things I'm not sure if folks are seeing on the screen there, but the basically the overall time on this one is 6 hours and 40 minutes, and this one is 8 hours 36. No, sorry, 4 hours 36 minutes. So you guys are streaming for a long time.
So we run about 13 hours a day. Now there are like the tournaments will have breaks in between the rounds. But during that time we were trying to scarf down a little snack, maybe grab some lunch if possible, get refresh our beverages. But we're mostly just hanging out with players and getting ready for the next game. But it's like you get the spirit of what's happening that kind of fuels you. And then the chat helps too, because there are people coming in and out of the chat at all times.
Right. Excellent.
Sometimes they'll engage you in conversation, which is the best, and you engage them and have great dialogue. Oh, I mentioned also Notley in the chat. Basically the main
Right.
moderator for us, and just man, he's so quick-witted. Like, he will keep you on your toes. That's
Yeah. I think during the pandemic, I used to watch a bunch of the like hang and paint or paint and hang, whatever shows that they did. And yeah, Notley was always in the chat, and they'd always be referenced and that kind of thing. And now on his Instagram, he gets the minis early, and he'll paint up rather than going like, okay, I'm painting this up for my army or painting this up for that army or whatever. He'll do, okay, there's 20 guys in this box. I'll paint them in 20 different color schemes.
Oh, the things he can do with contrast are mind blowing. I can't even comprehend how he does it.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's definitely super cool. One thing I do have to ask you about is particularly with Adam as your co-host there, and Adam being Australian, has he ever mentioned Rampaging Roy Slavin and H.D. Nelson?
I don't know that he has specifically.
Okay. Next time are you going to be in Dallas?
Yeah, this week I'm like literally I have one more day and then I'm off to Dallas.
Right. So if Adam's going to be there, ask him about those two folks. They're legendary Australian commentators, comedic commentators, and they've done some absolutely fantastic stuff. Hopefully, Adam's not too young to know who they are.
I will ask him. But yeah, so doing this with him and also not Nick Notabody, was also with me a lot. Just phenomenal. Like their insight into the game, because but when there's like a complex play, we try to break it down the best we can. We try to get in the mind of the players. We're talking about critiquing some of the players, and I try, and we've all tried to not second guess the pilot. The pilot's there. They're in the moment. They're sometimes we're covering the top tables. They got there. They earned their spot there. And but it is fun to kind of theory walk through what might happen on the table, what could happen on the table, what the various lines of play are, and then see how close we come to guessing that with what the pilot actually does. We also keep it kind of fun for ourselves. We'll predict how many things like deadly demises we're going to see over the course of the weekend.
Right. Nice.
So keep it's one thing to keep an eye out for. And then we
next
also
year at Adepticon they'll be sponsored by MGM online betting. You can bet how many deadly demises and
oh, that'd be fun. We've also we have a seasonal counter that we started doing about a year ago that we'll put up a silly graphic on the screen and count how many times it whatever triggers it over the course of the weekend.
Excellent. That's cool. Exactly. This is one of the other. This might be one of the camera angles that was requested. It's like maybe we can get a lower camera angle. It's like that might not work. The people are going to be in the way.
Could be. We have a roving cam that's we call it one of our servo skulls, and it's basically wireless. We'll go wherever we want, and then a couple of other cameras that give us different angles. But we try our best, especially if there's because the players they can do whatever they want on the table. There's no scripting of that. They can do whatever they want. So sometimes you're incentivized to like hide your models, and we got to get in there and figure out a way to not disrupt their game or slow them down because it's timed event also, and get the shots that help people understand. Because I do understand that maybe some people in the chat are just hanging out, which is cool. Like. Not a bad way to spend some time, especially you're painting or whatever on your weekend. It's their weekend time. And you kind of live vicariously to people that are either in the chat or doing some stuff on the tournament itself. But some people really want to follow every aspect of the game, and we want to give it to them. We give people whatever they want when they come and hang out with us.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I've spent a lot of time at conventions, like historical gaming conventions, photographing gaming tables, and sometimes the best time to photograph them is when the models are in action situations.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're just gonna stop the game for about 5 minutes while I take some photos. And it's like, I always feel bad doing that because it just interrupts the flow, all that sort of thing. So I just try and work around it. It's like, okay.
In a competitive environment, you don't really know what matters. Like, what if you slowing the game as an outside observer gives the opponent 10 more minutes to think about something that they wouldn't have thought of in the moment or had already committed? I mean, there's all kind of stuff that you could do, and we try to preserve, the authenticity of the game.
They're just trying to watch these wild animals in their natural habitat.
That's exactly.
Fantastic. Let me check. Is that? Oh no. Okay. So that's the last.
There's Old Wolf said, I get so much painting done while watching tournament streams. Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. Yeah, that's Jeff. Fantastic. Just a slow motion line of sight checking replay.
We're not quite there yet, but maybe next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like when I'm watching hockey and there's a goal. So like, and Paul, I don't know if you're a hockey fan, but like whenever there's a goal that's questionable, they'll go upstairs, which most sports do. But then there's also like in Toronto, there's a room called the Situation Room where there's like a bunch of rules like specialists that have a gazillion TV angles, and they'll kind of call in and they'll check in with the ref live and be like, yeah, it's from this angle, it's this, and then they'll either confirm or overturn a play. So I would love to be like, you're like, oh, we're gonna have to go to Nottingham for this one and see what the guys think and see if that rule is correct. Like,
as much as I like to create content, I also consume content in the same way, So anything that sounds good or what that next iterative idea is, we're gonna keep trying to do it because that's, we're consumers as well.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. Jake, is it called the Situation Room because it's got that guy from the Jersey Shore?
I think it predates the situation. It's just It's called the Situation Room because they're analyzing whatever situation is happening on the ice.
Oh, I should have thought of that. Sorry. All good.
I like where your head's at.
So, Paul, what do you think?
Dave's other hobby is watching Jersey Shore. He paints models and he watches Jersey Shore.
Yeah, no.
That may be the secret. Maybe we could all be phenomenal painters if we just watch, more reality TV.
No.
Oh God, you could not get me to watch reality TV. I can't.
This would be the closest I'd get. But anyway, no, I was going to say. So going back to what we were talking about before, where when we met at tournaments and competitive play, that you've been in the thick of competitive play in the US for the last 20
years. Yeah. I played locally for a long time, and I was jealous is not the right word, envious is not the right word, but it was always aspirational for me to be able to travel one day.
Yeah.
To play in tournaments. It was like it was unattainable for a period of time. When I finally got the opportunity to do so, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Ever since then.
What do you think has been the biggest change that you've seen over that 20 years as far as competitive gaming, or is it kind of this the main elements or the main themes exactly the same? Has there been something that's changed, or has it?
That's a great question. So at the core, it's the same. Like you show up, you try to, you're going to play 5+ games over the course of the weekend, and most people just want to maybe have a winning record. Like, most people don't expect to come out of there as the champion, or that's not even their goal. They just want to go and showcase their models. They want to meet people. They want to play some games. For some people, like especially now, as we're older and probably have more responsibilities, I don't get 5 games in a month, but I can get 5 games this weekend if I go to this place and do that. So that may be my games,
Yeah.
And I think that is the same now as it was then. But what I will say that I think that some of the stigma of like what it means to be someone that does that has changed a lot, which means more people are coming out and doing it. In addition to I think the game is more accessible. Like I think the game is in one of the best places it's been in a long time because rules are out there, rules or updates are out there. People know kind of, you can watch podcasts or videos or whatever about how to explore whatever is important about the game to you. And then you got this other aspect of, I think that traveling to these games is a natural extension of the hobby. For me, that's the way I feel. But I'm a big also believer in there's no bad way to be a fan of Warhammer. Like you hear all this time, oh, you're just a filthy casual, for you only read the Wikipedia pages or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, you cared enough to go do that. So
Yeah.
you're a fan. You only like the books. Fine. You're a fan. It's like, oh, you like to paint models. You don't like to paint models. You like to own models. Who cares? Like, it all counts, So I think more fans means you see more people playing the game, and then more people wanting to come and experience this at the tournament, because I think the game's more accessible. But I do think at the core, people show up for the exact same reasons that they used to show up for.
Right. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that. That's exciting to know that's what you're seeing as well from within that aspect.
It's hard not to have a good time at these things, and the people that I think that like most people, they come and they play their games, win or loss, they're having a good time. What I always say is that when you show up to that table, the person on the other side of the table has a lot in common with you. You might not even know that yet, but you think about the experiences that led you to meet at this table. How many common experiences do you actually have? Which is probably a ton. So everyone's having a good time. People are chilling out. Friendships are forged. Some of my oldest friends are from events like this.
Yeah.
Or other conventions. Met Jake at Gen Con. Was it 5 years ago?
5 or 6. It was before the pandemic. I thought it was 2018 or 2019.
That makes sense.
One of those two.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's been 5 or 6 years. I was telling Dave before the stream, we were hanging out talking, and you were there with Chris Pryor. It was the first time I met Chris, and it's kind of hilarious because like since then I've seen Chris at 2 other shows, and then like I talked to him on the phone a couple months ago, but I like have not seen him. He's like in a cave. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but like he literally has not been out to do anything. So
no, he runs a store, and it's basically just been trying to hold it down. Like, I still chat with him, we talk about comics and stuff like that. But no, to the core of that though, is these friendships are from traveling and meeting people from all over the country that have a lot in common with you. And, you're going to run into them again. That's one of the neatest things about coming to these events. You go to 2 or 3 events, there's going to be some overlap of the people there most likely, and you're going to run into some familiar faces.
Yeah, I talk a lot with friends of mine who play locally but don't do a ton of shows. And they're always like, well, how do you know these guys? And I'm like, well, like, there's a ton of guys that are, like Dave, like XGW, like friends of mine that I worked with like years ago. But then there's also there's the community, like you said, there's people that I'll see at different shows. And then out of that community, there's like my core group of what I call like my like game friends. And they're like people who become friends of mine because of similar interests. And I see them, 2-3 times a year. Like sometimes it's, once a year or twice a year, but it's still like, oh, hey man. And it's like, we immediately go back to, it's like Adepticon just happened. And then I'll see somebody at Adepticon next year, and we'll literally pick up a conversation that we were having at Adepticon last year.
Yep.
It's like because we're all nerds. We all have that part of our brain that is good at like math and like storing information and like
categorizing things.
Yeah,
and you
right.
pull out the slot, put it in the...
So I'm with you. Like I love all that stuff. I think it's, for me, that's my favorite part of the hobby. It's part of the reason why Adepticon is my favorite show. Like there's so many people that I know there. It's such a chill show. It's so much fun to play at. But like there's a bunch of shows that I really enjoy. Like I have fun at almost, if I didn't have fun at the shows, I wouldn't go to them. So,
well,
but I get it. Like for some people, it can be a lot. I get it.
Is the closest thing to like a real convention that our hobby has over here in the States right now. And so it's like you get some of that real convention. I like conventions, going to different panels, walking in, stumbling into conversations that are about their 50th level paladin who's half lich, half halfling, half elf,
That's too many halves.
Yeah, look, not in their campaign. You don't know what happened, man. But if you hang out long enough, you will find out. You'll be able to connect the dots. And I love those conversations.
It's the best. And like, I also think I don't know if I think I've said this before on the show. I think part of the reason that things are so, like you were saying, so big and so accessible right now, I think there's a couple reasons for that. The first one is, I think you're absolutely right. I think there's more exposure than there's ever been before. Like there's so many ways to find content, right? You've got like all the streaming services. You've got, Twitch. Warhammer has their own streaming service. Like Warhammer Plus, like Black Library's been around.
Phenomenal too.
Like Black Library's been around forever. And Games Workshop's been around forever. But only in the last, I would say 7 years have they really been like, oh, we're going to start Warhammer community page. And I remember people were like, whoa, what? Like, so now there's like a community aspect. Like they've done so much with that. And it's not just Warhammer, but just as the example, you know, you can follow it on Twitch and on Instagram and on Discord, and you can, you know, watch podcasts and streaming shows and, you know, downloadable content. Like there's so much stuff. And I think that's everywhere. I think D&D has a lot of that. I think, you know, card gaming has a lot of anything hobby wise. But then the other thing I think that's more important, or that's an important piece, is a lot of us that got into this are Gen Xers. And like, look at all the movie content now. Like you've got all the Marvel stuff, all the Star Wars content, like the Witcher. You've got all these new shows that are coming out. And the reason why this stuff is coming out is because Gen Xers that grew up loving Star Wars and Marvel and, you know, what have you, are now running these companies. And they're like, you know what's really cool? This stuff that I was into when I was a kid, we have access to that, right? And now Gen Xers are old enough now to have disposable income to spend on that stuff. So it's like this big perfect circle where everything has just come back around. So
I think you're dead on there.
Yep.
And keep it coming, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Paul, the last thing that we do in the show each week is we take a look at minis painted by our Build Paint Play Facebook community. And this is where you do get to have a chance to critique models. So if you're cool, we'll jump straight into that.
Sure.
And we'll get that underway. So as I said, yeah, on our Facebook group, Build Paint Play community, you can post your photos of models you're working on.
Mantis Warriors?
Yep, from Badab War color scheme.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do I remember owning this White Dwarf that talked about the Badab War and had all the crazy like Acid World camo schemes.
Yep. These guys are the old metal Stone Guard minis.
Yeah.
That's great execution right there. Like that's a challenging thing to get looking good, and they nailed it.
Yeah. Aaron's work on the I'm loving the sort of the weathering on the Rhino, the Razorback, sorry. Sitting back there. Well, it's streaking as well.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of Razorbacks.
Yep. Not anymore, but
I like the theme though. I mean, there's intent here with the this squad or whatever. I bet they are named.
Yep. I wouldn't say no doubt. But yeah, Aaron does some beautiful work. But awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that, Aaron. Let me
I like it.
Here we go. Get that going. Next up we've got The Lion from Adam Weller.
Dang.
Yep. Adam's done a beautiful job there.
I really like the purple sword. I think the purple sword does a really cool job of contrasting the green armor.
Yep. Yeah, and Adam's on the Facebook group. Adam's got a fantastic sort of shot of front at that angle, the side angle with the sword.
Yeah,
that are you?
It's a choice with the head. It's so difficult. Like I haven't built one yet, but I know that I'll go into like vapor lock when I decide what head to use.
I believe he did all four and he magnetized them.
Yeah, yeah, I think he did.
It's
amazing when you get to the point of like, oh yeah, I'm just going to magnetize 4 heads for.
See, I don't know too many painters that paint at this level that actually would do that.
Right.
Which they should. Like, look, it's like just sub them out. Painters like, I'm not messing with magnets. I'll like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the Tywin Lannister head is the right head. Like that's he looks just like Charles Dance, which I love.
Yeah. Yeah. He does look fantastic. But I also love the sort of the more vibrant green cloak that Adam's gone for on the cloak.
Yeah, looks phenomenal.
And the brushed gold work up on the top of the backpack up in this area is gorgeous as well.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Non-metallic metal. But yeah, awesome work there, Adam. Thank you very much for sharing that. It looks great. Andrew Schaefer has been painting up some Battletech, and this is a clan bear. Is that right?
It's definitely a clan.
It's clan scheme.
So it looks like Jade Falcons, because that looks like a. Oh no, maybe it's Clan Wolf.
Wolf. Okay, let's go with Wolf.
I think it's Clan Wolf.
We'll get there.
I think it's Clan Wolf, and he's got like this would be a reserve star. So on the left, that's a Peregrine, and then he has a Shadowhawk. I think that's an Uller, and then he has a Summoner, and then that's a Mad Cat on the far right.
Cool.
Or Timberwolf, depending on if you're using the clan namings. But yeah, these are great. These models are so cool. Like contrast paints do wonders on these on the models, because there's so much like detail and paneling and like crosscut stuff. It just gives a lot of stuff for the contrast to stick to.
Yeah, in and around there.
That's nice. When you get consistency of the color scheme across this many models, and you can all tell what they're from, I dig that.
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah, excellent work there, Andrew. Next up, Ben. Ben Pale. So this is Jake's business partner. Posted photos of the this is the Aegis. Oh, a defense line. It's not the Aegis defense line. But,
it is the new Aegis defense line, I think.
Yeah, that's the new one. Yeah.
Okay, radio. Cool. Haven't seen the new one in the flesh. But
and of course, and who would be defending it other than Imperial Fists? Like that just makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So this, righteous seal of the champion, or sorry, chaplain.
Yeah. So is this? Is he doing this for a? I know in the post he said 30K, 40K.
Yeah, I think Ben loves terrain, so whenever there's new terrain kits, he grabs them. He painted this up. I think he's going to this. He's playing at a big Horus Heresy event soon, so maybe he's using this, or maybe he's just bringing it. But yeah, they're super fun. I know Chris
that
Kemming
squad is Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
The chaplain.
Like I know Chris Kemming just did a bunch of just did some fists for him. So
cool, excellent. But yeah, the loving the basically the verdigris there on the metallic.
The chaplain's all like, shoot harder,
shoot more. Empty your bolters, brothers.
Yellow is a pretty challenging color, and getting it across the whole model is, the people that can do it. Hats off to them.
They look nice.
Definitely cool. Nice work there, Ben. Looking great. Chris Gorka. Chris posted up a few bits and pieces from Shatterpoint this week.
Yep. That's just finished up the series.
Yep.
I'm almost done with it. I think I have 3 more episodes, 3 or 4 left to finish.
I won't spoil anything.
This always weirds me out though. So the cool thing about this kit is all of the Bad Batch guys, you can either do them with their helmets or you can do them bareheaded, which is cool. But then I don't understand why Wrecker has 2 random pieces of like junk.
Yeah.
Like I was like, why doesn't he have his gun out? Like he's just like, I have 2 pieces of junk. And I was like, why? Why is he like that?
His name's Wrecker, not Shooter.
Right. But he routinely, he's like the heavy weapons guy. Like that's
okay.
he is really strong. Like in the show, he's the strongest. But it's just weird that I'm like, why is he holding 2 pieces of junk?
Well,
like
he's tearing them apart, obviously.
Sure.
Let me tear a phone book in half. There's no phone books in.
But these models are super cool.
Far away. But yeah, they look fantastic. Chris has done an excellent job.
Wow. I love the smoothness of the paint here. That's difficult for me to achieve.
So he's got Hunter, Crosshair, Echo.
Cool.
Their bases are really cool too. I like that there's a lot of like dynamism to their bases.
Yeah. There's something. They're interacting with the bases. There's something.
Yeah, it's not just dudes on a circle.
Yeah.
JP says they were skater punks. That'd be the Rad Batch.
Nice.
That'd be pretty cool. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll use the colors that we picked to paint the Bad Batch, and I'll make them the Rad Batch.
Nice.
Sounds like a plan. Excellent. And Chris said he's also started another core starter set.
Yeah, so he did the alternate Kalani this time. So that's Kalani on the right. Okay. So the Kalani comes with, I think, 2 builds. You can either give him like the one arm with like an arm that has a gun, or you can do this one where he has his arm behind his back and he has like the hologram.
Yeah. I think when I assembled the one that I painted recently, I didn't realize the arm went behind the back. So
But you can do it either way. Like
It's up
you
front.
can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it either way.
it looks a bit more like a butler, like you could drape a towel over.
Yeah. And then he did an awesome job on Bo-Katan. That model is so much fun to paint.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bo-Katan is really cool.
Yeah, she is nice.
The droids are a little fiddly.
Yeah, the brown skeletons, the B1 battle droids are like some of the worst. I don't like those models in general. And no matter what game they are, whether it's Legion or Shatterpoint, they're so fiddly.
But movie accurate, it's kind of hard to do them any other way though. So
yeah, the kits are good. It's just because of what they are, they're fiddly.
Yeah, I think there are probably a couple of ways they could have been done that had fewer parts, but anyway. But no, Chris has done an excellent job here. I'm loving that jade green on the.
Yeah, bring those models to life.
Yeah, these are great. I love both of these color palettes. So.
Yeah, beautiful work, Chris. Cliff Edders is continuing on some work on his orcs, and I wanted to throw this one up because whenever I see models like this, I usually see models like this in the past. It's like, oh man, that's really a really spotty prime job, and I can imagine that being very textured. But probably over the last 2 years, I've had there's been a few situations where I've ended up with a prime job like this, but it hasn't been textured. It's kind of really strange. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, almost looked at it as like intentional, though. I mean, like,
right?
I don't know that this isn't intentional.
Yeah, I think Chris did this. I think Cliff did this intentionally. I think he. I think he was misting.
Yeah.
To kind of get this effect. And then if he paints this with like, slap chop or just uses a bunch of contrast, like I think this will look great because of that. It'll make his skin look a little more natural. It'll have more tonality to it. And but I'm with you. I remember I did a box of Terminator Marines, and it I sprayed them in a cardboard box, so it kicked back off the cardboard, and then the spray caught the particulate and stuck it to the models, so they have like a grit to them. And I was like, "Oh, they're wrecked."
Yeah, but I don't think this one does have that.
No. Yeah, I'm with you. With you.
So definitely interesting. Looking forward to seeing this guy painted up. This is
progress.
Yeah, very good. So Jeff Smith is doing some more work. We saw the parts for this, the 3D printed parts last week. So this is his updated version of Bjorn the Fell-Handed.
Does that gun go on the Dreadnought?
Yeah,
that's Bjorn's Frost. It's his Frost beam or whatever.
Hellfrost cannon.
Hellfrost. There you go.
Yep. So just in the middle of converting that up.
Is he stepping on an orc?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And obviously he hasn't put his foot down yet because it would have exploded, right?
He's just pinning him there.
Yeah.
They're just talking.
Stay down.
And orc's upset. He's like, "You're not Yarg."
Yeah. But no, looking great there, Jeff. Excited to see this one underway. Jonathan Palomo. We had some photos from Jonathan a couple of weeks ago. Well, so shortly after Adepticon, with his award-winning Space Wolf Army. Yeah. So this is a Aurora chapter, I think.
Okay. I was gonna guess either Dark Angels or Salamanders, but
no, I'm pretty sure.
But there's no badging on it, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's going with a little bit of a darker, more weathered scheme for the Aurora chapter. I think
painting vehicles can be so difficult with this just wide open spaces.
Yeah,
depending on how you do it. So
you got to have a plan. When you have a vehicle that has a lot of real estate, you gotta be like, okay, so I'm gonna do squad markings there. I'm gonna do hazard stripes or kill markings there. I'm gonna do some detail stuff there. I'm gonna do some freehand there. Like you gotta have a plan. Otherwise, you're like, oh, it's a big green blob. Cool.
Yeah, a streaky green blob.
A streaky green blob.
Yep. Josh says they don't need no stinking badges.
I mean, come on, yeah, they do.
Yeah, well, it'd be nice. But no, looking great there, Jonathan.
I like it.
Speaking of Josh, this is a super cool beholder that he's been working on.
Very nice.
Yep. Is that going in a game? Is this from a list of monsters and creatures?
I don't know. Yeah, Josh, are you just painting this, or is this for like a game? Are you running? Is your party going to run into a beholder?
Yep.
Which those miniatures are. I mean, I think they're amazing to practice on.
Yeah. Yep. No, this guy is definitely looking good. I think Josh has painted
He's looking at something.
Kind of at least a dozen beholders now, but yeah, this one's a particular type. It's a little bit furrier, it looks like, but those teeth are kind of a lot straighter as well. Okay, he paints a monster a month as a subscription perk on his Twitch,
nice.
which will be starting at 9 o'clock tonight. So after the show, head over to Twitch, check out JP Got Rockets on Twitch, and maybe you too could win Monster of the Month. Now, looking good there, Josh. Very cool. Kelly painted up She-Hulk.
Oh, wow.
She looks great.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she?
Even all the weathering on the beam there. That's all the different textures. That's what I look for. Is like how does everyone handle the different textures? And when you can just readily like that, all this stuff looks like it's what it is.
Yeah, like the hair is different to the beam, which is different to the uniform, which is different to the skin, which is different to the base.
I like the light effect he used on her skin and on the suit. Like you can see the light playing on it, so it's not just like purple and green. It's like 4 or 5 shades of purple, and there's like 4 or 5 shades of green plus like washes. Like it adds a lot of like depth to the character. Yeah,
a lot of volume there. No, awesome work there, Kelly. She looks great. And I love the hair as well. The hair is very subtle, subtle green.
Yeah.
Nice sort of stuff. That's the sort of stuff that you could use the deep ocean blue for.
Yep. Dave loves that color.
I do.
Hey.
Yeah. Nice one. Excellent.
Oh, this is my favorite.
So Christian posted this earlier today. Very cool. I think this was a sort of a little duel that he did a couple of years ago. Put a Stormcast Eternal there on the Griff Charger, knocking over a Varangard. Is it? Oh, what are they? Yeah, the Varangard.
Yeah, it's the Varangard.
The Knights.
You can tell because the horse is not a horse; it's a weird monster.
Yeah.
Speaking of textures and the use of light and stuff, phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah, like the whole lava and everything, and all like the warmth on like the horse and the underside of the armor, and then like the natural light that's on the Griff Rider. The coolest thing, you can't see in this picture, is he did all the fur on the hippogriff. He painted it like from the head to the tail. He painted like lines, so it has so much depth and texture. It is. I mean, this is phenomenal.
Yeah. Absolutely awesome.
And there's distinction, like it's there's a lot of color use in here, and it's darker colors, but there's still distinction between every different level. That's pretty amazing.
It's so good. I really like the random blue skull that's down on the bottom right.
Is that blue skull or is it a? Oh yeah, yep.
I think it's a blue skull.
Yeah, I thought initially it was like a spite or something like that, but no, you're right. It's a skull. But no, one of the things I was going to say is for a lot of these photos, there are more photos from different angles on the Facebook group. So definitely head along and check those out.
Yeah, definitely. If like this Christian paints some of my favorite stuff. Like I love his style, I love his aesthetic. He always does such a great job with like light. The photos that he put up of this model, you can really see a lot more detail. I think there's like 4 or 5 photos that he put up of this. It's incredible. Like, do yourself a favor, check it out. It is awesome.
Yeah, really cool, awesome. So we've been watching this Emperor's Champion model come together from Luis over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Luis has been doing them in stages. Luis came over to us from the Gundam community, so he's been doing like very small precision work and doing like piece by piece, like like on the tilting shield, and he did all the scroll work on like the red like purity seal banner thing.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And I pulled both of them because I felt that the one on the left was the better lighted shot overall. Yeah. But the one on the right has the finished base as well. So
yeah.
But there's a lot of debate, do you use sub-assemblies to paint? Do you not? Do you like what's like? I think whatever method gets you comfortable getting your model done, is fine.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I think Luis probably had maybe 8, 9, 10 different pieces, and I probably would have painted it all as one. So.
Yeah, he and I talked about it. It's because before he got into Gundams, he came over from scale modeling.
Right.
And in scale modeling, everything has to be accurate. So he would do like painting competitions with like cars. So like, the car is like the size of a rhino, and you could open up the hood and there's like a little, pull oil tab thing that has to be painted. So he would do all the little pieces so it's accurate. And I told him, I was like, a model like this, like I would just build it and paint it.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, but if I can't get to something, I'm like, if you can't get to something, it's probably because you can't see it. And he's like, yeah, but I'll know that it's not painted. And I was like, okay, like I get it. Like everybody's got their own little wrinkles.
I respect that approach. Whatever you need.
Yep.
There's so much stuff that you can't reach with a paintbrush, but you can see with your eyes. There's so much stuff.
At times, but there's definitely parts where like doesn't matter. Like
right.
I don't need to paint under Cypher's robes. You know what I mean? Like you're never going to see that. He's glued to a base. Like there's no way to see that.
Right. Yeah. So actually, Paul, here's an example of the backpack.
Yeah, that's great.
I like all the stuff on the base over there too, like all that wrought, like the wire and stuff is used as the some kind of wrought iron beams. That's nice.
Yeah, he was telling everybody how he did that. Really, really cool. It's basically just cork and like paper clips with wire.
No, this is it's wire from like headphone, like
it's headphone wire,
that kind of thing. So it's very fine wire, twisted. But yeah, beautiful work there. Looking forward to seeing the Eliminator painted up. But yeah, looking cool. Next up, Patrick Keith printed out some of the models that he sculpted for his Dark Grim City Kickstarter. He said he was going to tell us when it was running. He forgot to. It is running now.
It is. We are telling you now. It is running.
It is running now. There's a link.
The link's below. It's in the show notes.
Yep. And I backed it. I backed it for the two warbands STLs.
This makes me want to play Mordheim.
Right. Yep.
Oh, those do look very, very similar. Yeah. A
What
lot of character in those.
What were the sisters called in Mordheim?
Sisters of Sigma.
Oh, they're sisters. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. But beautiful work there, Patrick.
Yeah, these are great.
Looking awesome. Excellent. Scott was talking before about sort of experimenting that he's being encouraged to do. I think Scott has a couple of Mitch Penny mentors like Ben Comets and Eric Swinson. And
that was great. That was almost looks like a drawing.
Yeah. No, it does look fantastic. Scott's been always been very good with sort of very natural greens and other sort of desaturated colors. So they're definitely encouraging him to throw a little bit more, sort of some more saturated colors into the mix. So we can see that with the yellow patches and the sort of pushing that yellow into the basing as well. But yeah, looking cool. Here's another guy from that same
guy.
warband.
It's me, the Hat Burglar.
Yeah,
a lot going on with that model right there. That's cool.
Yep.
But again, it looks like a drawing. I mean, there's so much there that like is just really well executed.
Yep. Yeah, it's got some great stuff. I'm looking forward to meeting Scott in person at Nova Open later this year.
Scott is so good with his cool tones, like his blues and his grays and his greens. They're always so good.
Yeah, looking fantastic. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Scott, for sharing those.
Very nice.
Next up, Stephen Ryder mentioned that I think at now I've forgotten it.
It's Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight. Okay, so if you want to pick up some hard cases, Harbor Freight have a sale at the moment. Check out Stephen's post in the Facebook group.
I used to love these cases back when Games Workshop made the pistol cases, and then now that there's companies like Army Painter, I look at these and I'm like, what would I keep in these? Like I don't know what I would put in them.
You mean Battle Foam?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
What did I say? Battlefront?
No, you said Army Painter.
Oh, but yeah, now that you have the Battle Foam cases, like, and you can get, everything can get custom laser cut, or you can buy like their generic trays. And it holds. I mean, the one I brought out to Adepticon, I had my 2,500 point or my 3,000 point Heresy Army in one, and I had my 2,000 point Flesh Eaters Army in another one. So like something like this would be like, oh, I guess I could put in 2 squads of intercessors, I guess. Like, what would I put in here?
A couple of kill teams, a couple of Warcry.
Sure, yeah, sure.
A sludge army. You could do it.
Oh, well, yeah, if you don't have any tanks.
Fantastic. So keep an eye out for that. Stephen also painted up the Death Chester, going back to that.
Oh, the old one. That's from that box I was talking about.
There you go.
Harlequin box.
That's right up Little Paul's alley right there.
Yep. When you say Little Paul, you mean Young Paul. Younger Paul.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have any Eldar?
I was here for... Yeah,
no,
I don't have any Eldar. We're sold out of Eldar, but I got these Harlequins.
I want to play an army that's all striking scorpions.
And speaking of green swords, Stephen has also painted up this old school Commissar.
Love the retro models. Bring it, like putting this paint job on a retro model.
Yep.
Nice.
So I love the old school models because there's a lot of straight arms.
Right. Yep. Everything's very flat. Look at that singular.
Yeah, they have to be in the 2 dimensions. They're just in the one plane.
Yeah. But yeah, no, looking good there, Stephen. And
I love it.
Thank you very much for sharing those. Sorry, Scott has said, Matt DiPietro demanded I try using some different colors. It's hard to break habits. And his first lesson is with Sam Lance is tomorrow.
Oh,
nice.
So, nice work.
This guy looks like this is what he did before he became the professor from Futurama. Like, this is him during his military days. He's got his green goggles on.
Yep. Good. And amazingly enough, William Leiden was also working on a Commissar.
The new Commissar.
The new one.
So yeah, the newest. This is one of the oldest. But yeah, this is one of the event exclusive ones, right?
It is. Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, William said this was a work in progress. So yeah, getting in there and blocking in all the colors.
That thing's great.
No doubt some highlighting on the black and some shading on the silver to come.
I love the chest plate. I love that the Commissar is rocking the chest plate. It takes me back to 3rd edition Imperial Guard where all the officers wore chest plates.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the refractor field was hiding or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, looking great. I think that is it for our
perfect timing. We nailed it. It's just after 9. So
9. Yep.
Oh, let me apologize again for being late.
Oh, again, it's all good, man. We Dave did a little song and dance routine, and we did a puppet show.
There was a puppet show. You'll have to go back and check it out. But no, fantastic. So thank you very much for coming on the show, Paul. Thanks very much for all the content you've been creating over the years for Forge the Narrative. And obviously there's no signs of that slowing down at all. Keep pumping things out. I think when I looked at it last week, you're at episode 501, something like that. So it's like three episodes. I feel like 3 episodes have gone out in the last week. So there's always going to be
not quite that speedy, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Feels like it. But no, it's definitely super cool. And people can obviously catch more of you on the Warhammer Twitch stream this coming weekend at in Dallas.
Yeah, tune in early as Thursday.
And there's a there's 2 previews happening this weekend, right?
There's a bunch of stuff happening this weekend.
Thursday,
I'll just leave it at that. That's
loads of stuff happening.
He's contractually obligated to leave it at that. So
awesome. So also in the Facebook group, I was going to say, going back to something earlier in the show, Jake will post a photo of the 4 colors that people need to use for a painting challenge for next week.
I got a bunch of random colors from Army Painter, like back when they were launching Fanatic, and we were talking about how some people got like Dave got like black and a bunch of other colors, and I got like 7 of the most Crayola, like middle of the tone. Like I got an orange and a pink and a blue, and I'm like, what am I gonna paint with this stuff?
So you figured it out now. Now you can do it.
Yep. Yeah, he's gonna do something. It'd be fantastic. I look forward to seeing it, Jake. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, me too. I can't. Who knows what I'm gonna do? I'll paint a Harlequin.
Yep.
We got anything else, Paul? Is there anything else you want to tell people about? Anything you're working on? Anything you're coming up new?
Thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to plug basically everything that's got going on right now. Check me out on Twitter, Warmaster_TPM, or on Fights with Dice on Instagram.
Cool. Excellent.
Right on. Dave, we ready?
I think we are. I'm just going to one more plug for the Kickstarter. It goes live. Links down below. Goes live on Friday at noon Eastern. And then Sunday morning, we've got our special bonus episode where we're going to be talking with Roman Lepat and Joshua Lai. So it should be lots of fun.
Paint Superstars. Thanks for having me. We'll see y'all.
Paul, hang out for a minute. We'll talk once the stream is over. But everybody, thank you guys for being here. Everybody in the stream, thank you guys for hanging out and seeing what we had to do. We will see you guys next week. And as always, do not forget to build, paint, play.
Yeah.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.